Encourage fans to support teams and officials in a positive manner.
Good afternoon and welcome to Chris Kelton Pool, where for the first time this season the Pacific Tigers have a home game after a lengthy road trip to start the season. The Tigers are home for the first time this afternoon as they will face the number 7 UC Irvine Anteaters. Paul Meiskin's here along with former Pacific Water Polo All-American Pat Donlin. And Pat, finally we get a home game.
Tigers, after road trips and tournament play, finally open up here at Chris Kelton Pool for an MPSF matchup with the visiting UC Irvine Anteaters. The Anteaters, a program with storied history, 3 national championships to their credit, now under the command of Coach Mark Hunt, a former player for legendary Coach Ted Newland in Irvine. Enter the game with expectations of pushing a high pace and tempo game, trying to focus defensively on neutralizing the Tigers' Alex Obert. And on the other end of the pool, the Tigers entering the game at 14-2 overall and 1-0 in conference play. The 2 losses to the Cal Bears, their only blemishes on their record. Coach James Graham, his expectations for today's match also for high energy and tempo and outworking the Anteaters. Both coaches know the importance of conference games, and the game that the Tigers won at the SoCal tournament against the Anteaters just a week ago, the 3rd game of tournament play. Both teams are starting to run out of steam at that point, so both coaches at this point expect not so much a war of attrition, but a high-paced and high-tempo game, Paul.
Yeah, you mentioned the Tigers' 2 losses, both coming to Cal, both coming in overtime. And then after that second loss to Cal, as you mentioned, Tigers beat Irvine 14-9 and then finished by winning the 5th place game against UC Santa Barbara at the Cap 7 Classic SoCal tournament. So Tigers enter number 5 in the nation, Irvine number 7. The Tigers in the black caps and the Anteaters in the white. As it looks like for the sprint, it's going to be Milos for the Anteaters and Fleming for the Tigers. In goal for the Tigers, Brady Moore, while in goal for the Anteaters is Dylan Peterson.
UC Irvine, number 3, Lovre Milos. For the Tigers, number 7, Casey Fleming.
We saw a little bit of a light rain about 5 or 10 minutes ago, but looks like it let up about 70 degrees. Really a beautiful afternoon for water polo.
Perfect conditions for water polo.
So the Tigers win the sprint and will go on attack first. Petrovic to Latskovic. Back to Petrovic, working it around the perimeter. Down to 12 on the shot clock.
Anteaters trying to deny center. Obert drives in, triple teamed, nothing doing.
So nearly full 30 seconds go off. Tigers don't even get a shot off as quickly the other way come the Anteaters. And the opening goal scored.
Kyle Trush on the goal. That's his 30th on the season as he beats Brady Moore with a near side skip. Irvine quickly on the board on their first possession, 1-0 Irvine.
Good crowd here this afternoon. Homecoming weekend, tons of events going on here around campus.
Tigers setting up pick play for Petrovic. He tries to skip near side, and that's smothered by Peterson. Into the counterattack for Irvine.
They get it to File. A lot of contact down low. Shot clock down to 5. They go down low, and they're able to get the shot off. That's File with the goal.
UC Irvine goal, number 10, Chris Suika.
Or excuse me, that's Suika with the goal.
Chris Suika with a nice power move at center. He had a little bit of space. The Irvine passing from the perimeter, creating some space, drawing the Pacific drop out towards the perimeter, gave Suika just a little bit of daylight to make that entry, makes a power move and puts it past Brady Moore. 2-0 Irvine.
See if the Tigers can answer back. A big save there by Irvine goalkeeper Peterson.
Not a lot there for Ben Stevenson from the far side wing. Tried to wrap it around and maybe go cross cage, but Peterson playing his angles perfectly. Makes an easy save, no rebound, into another possession for the Anteaters.
Yeah, we've talked about in the past a lot of times. It's a lot about angles, and from that angle, he's going to have a tough time getting it past the goalkeeper and in as that shot goes over the top.
Matt Skinner letting it go from a long way out after several ball fakes and tries to go cross cage high, plays the percentages. Moore knocks it out, and the Eaters retain possession.
Back and forth as they work it around. Back to Milos.
Kind of crowded in front there for Irvine. Going into almost a 4-2 formation there as they get a shot from the far side wing from Pedro Carballo. Not a good look from a right-hander from that wing, but an interesting formation at even strength from UC Irvine, going into a 4-2 formation that you usually only see on a 6-on-5 possession. Petrovic now with space. And he finishes.
Yeah. Nice pass there from Laskovic, finding Petrovic really wide open right in the middle, and he just fired it home past Peterson.
Peterson having to go a long way as the Tigers brought the ball down the near side wing. Long cross pass. Petrovic stayed up high on his legs and able to put a power shot to the top corner, beating Peterson. 2-1. Now the score here, 5:13 to play first quarter.
Yeah, Petrovic's 27th goal on the season. 4th best on the Tigers team. Stevenson leads the Tigers with 41 goals, Laskovic with 30, and Obert with 29 on the season so far. Anteaters again working around the perimeter. Shot clock down to 11.
Nice field block on the far side, and the Tigers get the possession after Tim Reeves makes the field block. He recovers the loose ball, earns a free throw, gives it back to Moore. Moore looks to make the outlet on the counterattack.
And that's IE with it here. He gets it to Saito. Back to IE. As the Tigers, after trailing 2-0, a chance here to tie it up at 2. Shot clock down to 5. The shot looks like a field block on the way to goal.
I think they're going to call it a goaltender save there, Paul, as it trickled and hit the goal line on the shot by Petrovic. The Tigers retain possession. If it had been a field block, it would have rewarded the Anteater defense for a turnover. Lots of pressure on the perimeter now as the Anteaters look to split between Petrovic and Obert.
Long range shot there's saved.
Saito with that shot, the lefty. Good place for him to shoot. Just wasn't able to get it into the upper corner where it would have been a long reach for Peterson. Instead, it's low, and he's able to smother it, no rebound.
Just over midway through the first quarter, and the third goal of the afternoon for the Anteaters there.
Matt Skinner with the backhand. He found a little bit of daylight, beat the double team before the crash came, goes with the backhand and beats Moore. 3-1 now, Irvine. 3:33 to play first quarter. Irvine with good passing on the perimeter, which set up that entry pass to Skinner, and he's able to put a power move with a big backhand past Moore.
See multiple substitutions on both sides.
And as we've gone through the first half of the first quarter, a lot of tempo and pace, as both coaches predicted. And both teams with some good looks so far. Irvine, to this point, the one that's been able to capitalize. And we've got our first exclusion of the game.
Tigers go on the advantage.
Number 10 of Irvine, Suika, excluded. Some poor passing now. The Tigers look to regain possession, and James Graham of the Tigers will look to settle things down and call timeout, as that possession was getting away from him.
As Stevenson took the shot and was able to get his own rebound, and then James Graham calls timeout. So 3:10 to go here in the first quarter. Anteaters leading the Tigers 3-1, the first home game of the season. After a lengthy road trip to start the season, Tigers home also tomorrow afternoon. An even tougher matchup tomorrow as they will take on number 3 ranked Stanford. And right now the Tigers trailing 3-1. And after the first almost 5 minutes, what's James Graham want to see different?
I think at this point, don't get sucked out too far on the perimeter passing as Irvine possesses the ball. Continue to look to deny center. They've taken the bait, so to speak, to be drawn out. And that's created opportunities with space at center for Irvine. They've converted all their goals now from center.
Yeah, their last 2 goals both coming from close range. 3:10 to go here, and I'm not sure what we're waiting on. Oh, the shot clock, perhaps. It's getting fixed.
I beg your pardon, Paul. That one goal was from distance for Irvine. The other 2 goals coming from center. And now the Tigers are ushered into the front court where they'll put the ball in play.
See if Tigers can capitalize on this 6-on-5 opportunity. And now
another exclusion. And a quick entry pass. Nothing doing to Obert, looking for a quick one-timer. And that rebound is corralled by Irvine. So Irvine dodges a bullet. They had run the risk of going down 6-on-4 there for a few seconds. And that's a high percentage play that Peterson did nicely to get right in front of Obert.
Yeah, and if you're the Tigers, one of those early on, a 6-on-4, almost feel like gave away a goal by not scoring there.
Milos called for the offensive foul. Turnover.
Fleming gets it to Petrovic.
Long rebound. Scooped up by the Anteaters. So a good look there for Petrovic. That's a shot that he wants to take, but just a nice save and unfortunately long rebound for the Tigers. Picked up by UC Irvine.
Yeah, it's almost similar to the goal he scored earlier for the Tigers. A nice pass found him in the middle open, and this time Peterson in goal, able to get the save. Shot clock under 10.
And the Tigers will have their first player excluded and a power play opportunity for UC Irvine.
UCI on the 6-on-5. Number 4, Alex.
And now Coach Mark Hunt of UC Irvine will call timeout. With 1:48 to play, first quarter, Irvine ahead 3-1. They'll look to tack on another one here with this power play opportunity.
Yeah. Already with a 3-1 lead. And their first 6-on-5. Sure, they're going to try to draw something up here to get it down low in front of the goal and try to get it past Moore once again.
Six-on-5, all about moving the defense, keeping them off balance, and moving the defense around to create that one passing lane for an open player with time and space, usually right in front. We'll see what Irvine has drawn up here as they come out of the timeout here shortly. James Graham has got to be telling his guys, let's try to limit the damage. Let's try to get one back and keep it just a 2-goal margin, perhaps maybe even trim it as we approach the end of the first quarter.
And then on the offensive end, perhaps we'll see if the Tigers can get, you mentioned Stevenson leads the Tigers with 41 goals in that loss to Cal. Stevenson scored his 100th career goal. So he's over 100 goals in his career, and so far Stevenson and the Tigers offense quiet through the first 6+ minutes, as the Anteaters will have the 6-on-5.
And credit UC Irvine goaltender Peterson. He's had a couple of nice saves as Irvine puts the ball in play on their 6-on-5, moving the ball around the perimeter.
And fortunately there, a low shot just skipped over the top of the goal.
And that was a well-designed play by UC Irvine, going from that 3-3 formation, driving into a bit of a 4-2 with the post player getting right into a shooting slot. And that was the play to make and the shot to take. Just hit the crossbar and out.
Petrovich's long-range shot. Rebound finds its way to Fleming.
Lots of shot blocking, a lot of traffic in front for the Tigers from the perimeter.
Stevenson back to Petrovich. And now that shot.
Devin Thumwood from the far side shoots it over.
Yeah. Well over the top. So we're under a minute to go here in the quarter. 45 on the game clock, 20 on the shot clock. The likely last possession of the quarter for Irvine. Cross pool pass, looking for an angle to shoot. 5 on the shot clock, long range shot there, saved by Moore.
Tough shot by Skinner as he catches it cross face. Didn't really get his shoulders turned all the way around. That's got to be a real placement shot if he's not able to get his shoulders turned around for a full follow through. And he put it low, well within the reach of Brady Moore. And the Tigers take over. Last possession of the quarter, under 10 seconds in the quarter.
And we're going to have a 6-on-5 chance here for the Tigers. And the shot skipped in. Goal for Ben Stevenson. So finally the Tigers' leading goal scorer on the season finds a goal with seconds to go.
I think that's one that Peterson would like to have back. He got a heavy piece of it, and it just trickled over the goal line. 3-2 Irvine now as the Tigers trim it to 1 with just under 5 seconds left to play in the first.
Yeah, we've seen him make some probably more difficult saves than that one as that shot goes all the way to the scoreboard. So that'll do it. So after a quarter of play, the UC Irvine Anteaters lead the Pacific Tigers 3-2. This is Pacific Water Polo on PacificTigers.com.
For your smartphone or tablet today. It's available for your Apple devices at the iTunes App Store or for your Android devices on Google Play. And remember to check in here at today's game for reward points that can be redeemed for many great prizes, including an Apple Watch. Every home Pacific Athletics event and most West Coast Conference road games are streamed live in HD online via the West Coast Conference Online Network, DW.TV. You can find links to Pacific's games on PacificTigers.com.
Yeah, push the boulder uphill. I know. Right. Yeah. Yeah. Right. Yeah. Yeah. No, you're right. Yeah. Yeah, they'll at least have some of the names on recall. Laskovich, to Petrovich, to Obert. Yeah. The visitors are even worse because I don't know any of them.
Welcome back to Chris Kelton Pools. We get set for the second quarter. The Tigers trailing the Anteaters 3-2, although goal in the final seconds on the 6-on-5 by Ben Stevenson cut the deficit down to just one. Paul Meison's here along with Pat Donlin as we get set for the sprint to start the second quarter.
Looks like it'll be Milosh for Irvine to sprint. Matching up again as they did to open the game against Casey Fleming of the Tigers.
For the Tigers, number 7, Casey Fleming.
The Tigers won the sprint.
It was a very evenly matched sprint. Both sprinters very equally matched, and it was just Fleming able to corral a loose ball. And again, both players arrived simultaneously, and this time it's Irvine who was able to corral the loose ball.
Really was. Just like the first quarter, about as even as you could get, and just a scramble and the ball rolled Irvine's way this time instead of Pacific's. So the Anteaters will have the first possession here of the second quarter.
Number 10, Chris Suika at center. Anteaters trying to find him some room. And that ball, as Brady Moore got two hands on it, but just took a bad hop off a ripple of water and crosses the goal line. And Irvine gets a goal on their opening possession of the second quarter.
Yeah, filed a goal there. Really looked like he was going to have a tough time from that angle, and somehow it got off of Moore and rolled over the goal line barely. It was close.
And from our angle here, Paul, near center pool, we just did not have the angle to see it, but called by the far side official who was closer to the goal line, determined to be a goal.
And that, no doubt, is a goal.
Alex Obert with a big power move, the national team member expected to play in next year's Olympics in Rio with the big power move. In front, beats the triple team and fires it past with a fastball. 4-3.
Yeah, Obert, the redshirt senior from Loomis. His 30th goal of the season. And so, no doubt on whether that ball crossed the goal line or not. And so, not long after falling back down by 2, the Tigers cut the deficit back to 1. Another good sign. Tigers often struggle for most of the first quarter, scored late in the first quarter, and then opened the second quarter with a goal. So the Tigers have scored on 2 straight possessions now. As looking for that near corner once again.
Again, close, landed near the goal line, but Moore able this time to clear it off of his line. Counterattack to the Tigers. They had Ben Stevenson, the speedy guy, up front. Just weren't able to find him. It would have been a tight window to get it to him. But the Tigers will take over in the front court.
Saito closely guarded. Over to Petrovic, back to
Tim Reeves at center, and a penalty shot has been called. And Iko Saito threading the needle to feed Reeves at center, draws the triple team, pulled back from behind. It looks like Thumbwood will attempt the conversion, but a pinpoint pass by Saito into Reeves, ball side with inside water, draws the opportunity on the penalty shot.
So Thumbwood, the sophomore from Calgary, Alberta, Canada, converts, and we are tied at 4.
Thumbwood puts it away with a skip to the high corner. As you said, Paul, knots it at 4, and it's a whole new ball game.
Yeah, Thumbwood, that goal, his 23rd of the season. So 3 straight possessions for the Tigers ending in goals. So the offense finally starting to pick it up here.
So again, as both coaches mentioned in the pregame, the tempo from both teams, especially as we enter conference play. Irvine visiting Stockton today, and will visit Berkeley to take on the California Golden Bears tomorrow. The Tigers tomorrow will host the Stanford Cardinal. So a critical early weekend set of matchups for both teams.
Yeah, there's really no off day in the MPSF play. So many nationally ranked teams. So top 10 battle here this afternoon, and another one. In fact, the top 5 battle.
Petrovic now with room. Off the top of the crossbar.
Yeah, he likely probably wish he could have that back.
That was a good look. That was right in the sweet spot for Petrovic, where he's had a couple opportunities. Now a counterattack opportunity for Irvine. And Milos had to pull it out.
And that quick pass to Suika right in front, unfortunately for the Tigers. He had really the whole goal to shoot and just shot it over the top.
A flurry of action at both ends for both teams. Now the Tigers will look to settle it down and go into their front court possession. Stevenson and Petrovic playing catch now.
And Stevenson off the post, rebound in front.
Rebound collected by Obert. Tried to make a power move right into a waiting defender who draws a ball under call. Turnover to the Anteaters.
And you talked about speed. Back and forth we go here.
After a flurry of both teams matching each other goal for goal, now we've seen a flurry of counterattacks.
And some nice job by the defenses to stop those counterattacks. Shot clock down to 3. They're going to have to let something go from long range.
And that's just looking, like you said, Paul, getting late on the shot clock. UCI looking to just put something on net, and a long shot from distance from a right-hander after, as I mentioned before, catching it cross face, wasn't really able to get his whole body into the shot and handled easily by Brady Moore.
Yeah, a shot like that, you're just hoping the goalie makes a mistake of somehow
tips it out of bounds, perhaps.
As Tigers have it slip out of the hands of Laskovic.
Yeah, just lost the handle on a ball fake, and it landed right in front of UCI to collect that loose ball.
Yeah, it looked like he might even have been going up ready for a shot, and the ball went backwards.
Just lost the handle.
Yeah, the ball's a little slippery sometimes, huh?
It just put your finger on a seam, perhaps. Just gets away from you just that one bit. Just the wrong place at the wrong time for the loose ball to fall for
late shot clock here.
And the direct shot opportunity for Trush after his free throw beyond 5 meters, but the loose ball collected by UCI.
And so, fortunately, they're really not a lot to shoot. Just getting it off the end of the shot clock, although this time able to get it back. And a nice backhanded shot there.
Lino with the entry pass on the far side. Fed it into center for a quick backhand, which beat the crashing triple team of Pacific. So, a lot of production from the Anteater centers.
Anteaters back in front, 5-4, 3:36 to go here in the first half. The Tigers have never led. Trailed by as many as 2 before scoring 2 straight to tie it up. But now trail 5-4. Stevenson with it.
And we're going to have an exclusion call against UC Irvine.
Tigers on the power play.
So, see here if the Tigers can convert again on the 6-on-5. Stevenson gives it up, gets it back. And Stevenson finds that lower right corner.
Stevenson with a nice hesitation. I think he tried to lock up the goaltender, Peterson. I think he threw him a changeup there, and he let it go just from the wrist and was able to place it in the near side low corner and ties it back up at 5. But Stevenson showing some creativity and keeping the goaltender off balance. And that's all about placement there and deception on the release.
Yeah, it was some nice patience too. Stevenson gave it up, got it back, went to the other side, got it back, and then just like you said, like how you said, a changeup almost to the lower right corner. And
definitely not the pace that Peterson was waiting for, and definitely not the release point or release mechanism from Stevenson.
Stevenson now with 2 goals here this afternoon, 43 on the season. And back in front go the Anteaters.
Jared Osborne with a shot that Brady Moore is shaking his head at. He knows he wants to have that one back. It got right between his hands. He was looking to have a 2-handed pull down, and I think just misplayed it perhaps, didn't see it through some traffic, and it gets behind him. The Anteaters back in front now. Just a back and forth match that we've had so far, Paul. in the first half. 2:43 to play until halftime. And the match so far, as both coaches expected, a lot of pace and a different type of war of attrition here with a lot of scoring in the first half.
Yeah, I don't think we were expecting the Tigers to run away with this. And, you know, when these two teams met before, it was a 14-9 win. As that shot is saved and rebound collected by the Anteaters. 2:20 to go here in the first half. And now a whistle.
An exclusion against Petrovic. Power play to the Anteaters.
Number 2, Alexander Petrovic, excluded for Pacific.
Osborne gives it up. Still working it around the perimeter. Shot clock down to 10, and there's a goal.
And that shot
and 6 on 5
from the far side.
Irvine, scored by number 6, Ryan Ward.
Ryan Ward handcuffed Brady Moore, got in close to his hands. He wasn't able to get his hands in perfect position to get him behind the ball all the way, and it gets over his shoulder. Anteaters back out in front by 2. 1:50 to play until the half. Wholesale substitutions for the Anteaters. The Tigers look like they'll stand pat with their personnel as they're back down again by 2.
Yeah, the Tigers have trailed almost the whole match. They trailed by 2 earlier, scored back-to-back goals to tie it back up, and now once again down by 2 with under 2 minutes to go in the first half. Stevenson with a pair of goals. Gets it to Petrovic. Back to Stevenson. Back to Petrovic. Now, shot clock down to 7. Stevenson looking to get off a shot over to Thumwood. Thumwood's long-range shot over the top.
Thumwood again with his second shot over the cage.
Yeah, really, though, not much time left on the shot clock from long range over the top. And now, fortunately there for the Tigers, he wasn't able to get more on that shot.
Brock Ivankovic with the backhand shot with the save by Moore. And that last possession for Pacific, credit UC Irvine Anteaters with shot blocking and funneling in shots towards their goalie. Again, one of the comments Coach Mark Hunt had in the pregame, they want to let their goalie make the good saves.
And Stevenson finds a way to skip it in.
And it almost sounded like a redirection. It sounded like there was contact on flesh there with Stevenson going skip cross cage to the top corner. It sounded like it had a change of direction.
It almost sounded like it went somebody's hand skipped off the water and then past the goalkeeper. Either way, it found a way to get past Peterson and in, and so the deficit again cut down to just 1 with 40 seconds to go in the half.
As Peterson was fishing it out of the back of his net, he had a conversation with one of his defenders about perhaps an angle or a shooting lane, because that ball definitely changed direction on Peterson there. And as you said, Paul, 1-goal game, 7-6 Irvine in the lead, 40 seconds to play until the half.
See if the Tigers can get a stop here and have a chance to try to tie it in the final moments of the half. Working it around the perimeter. The quick shot.
Field block by Petrovic on that shot from long range.
Possession off the field block
by Osborne, rewarding the Tiger defense. Under 20 to play until the half. See what the Tigers can do on the last possession.
And a chance here in the final moments. We saw with seconds to go in the first quarter, the Tigers scored a goal to cut the deficit to 1, and a chance here to tie it up. Thumwood off the post.
Good look by Thumwood. And a game of inches as Peterson lets it go the length of the court.
First half of play, UC Irvine 7,
just
Pacific
missing
6.
as it hits the post.
Next
the goalie's best friend as we go to the break. UC Irvine ahead by 1 at 7-6 from Chris Kelton Pool.
At 3:30 p.m. on Friday, October 23rd. Later that evening at 7 p.m., the men's and women's swimming teams start the first day of competition at the annual Pacific Invitational. The Swimming Invitational continues at 10 a.m. on Saturday, October 24th, and the weekend wraps up as the men's water polo team hosts second-ranked USC at noon on Sunday, the 25th. All of that action takes place next weekend here.
Dylan Peterson in goal for the UC Irvine Anteaters. 10 saves to his credit in the first half. Brady Moore in goal for the Tigers with 8.
For the Tigers, number 9, Ben Stevenson.
A lot of good looks on both ends with the tightest of margins so far.
As the sprint, the ball goes out of play, and possession will go to the Tigers.
And I think that's the right call there. I think a little bit of indecision there for just a split second, but I do think that in the Stevenson versus Carballo swim off, Carballo did tip it out of bounds, so possession to the Tigers to open up the second half.
Carballo kind of smiled and looked at the referee after that, like, really? Was that on me? So the Tigers a chance here on the first possession, And that skip shot goes off the post.
Laskovich trying to skip it in. The left-hander with a good angle on that far side wing. Rebound lands in front of a trio of Anteater defenders, and they're going the other way.
And as we start the second half, it's starting to sprinkle again. A light rain. We saw a little bit of a rain right before the start, but then it kind of stopped as some dark clouds moving around in the sky. Really, though, a nice afternoon as that skip shot gets by Moore. He has to be disappointed that one got past him.
Yeah, Brady Moore, I think, saw it all the way. Just
Kyle Trush.
The fluidity and unpredictability of water movement. I think usually when a player skips it, it's going to take the high bounce. That one stayed low and got under the hands of Brady Moore. He did get a good piece of it, just trickled across the goal line again. UC Irvine with a 2-goal advantage.
Yeah, Kyle Trush's second goal, the junior from Newport Beach. So the Tigers have never led, have trailed by as many as 2 goals several times, and now once again the Tigers trail by 2.
Crowd getting into it now, looking for a Tiger rally.
And right in front, able to power it in.
Laskovich feeding Obert.
Tiger goal scored by number 4, Alex Obert.
To cut it again to 1. Obert, the big center, as I mentioned, expected to make the Olympic team next year and travel to Rio. Tons of international experience for the big center. His second goal of the game.
Now 31 goals on the season, second best on the Tigers behind Ben Stevenson. As the Tigers back down by 1 here early in the third. Shot clock down to 10.
Perimeter ball handling around the horn by UC Irvine. Field block by Stevenson. Stuffs Carballo. Possession to the Tigers.
And quickly the Tigers looking to counter. Pass goes to Stevenson. He gets it to Petrovic. Now Laskovich. Stevenson swims towards the middle of the pool. Shot clock down to 7. And that was going to be a tough shot from that angle for Obert. National team member or not. Kind of fading away. Tried to go to the near post. Shoots it out. And the shot and the goal for the Anteaters.
Lovre Milos with a direct shot after the foul from beyond 5 meters.
Lovre Milos with the goal for the Anteaters.
And that ball, you could see from where we sit, Paul, that definitely did have a change of direction. There was a hand that got a piece of it and deflected it to that top corner to get it past Moore. Irvine now working with a 2-goal margin again. Seems like the flow of this game is every time the Tigers cut it to with 1 or tie it, the Anteaters have an answer.
And once again, after the goal, Brady Moore just shaking his head.
Moore has had some balls go to him that he either was handcuffed, had a ball change direction, or not the bounce that he thought it was going to take. Definitely a frustrating afternoon for him to this point.
See if the Tigers can quickly cut it back down to 1. Stevenson with it. Shot clock now down to 8. Stevenson and gets it over to Laskovich, and his left-handed shot goes over the top.
And that ball called as a field block and turnover to Irvine. Looked like it got all the way into Peterson. It looked like a save, but Peterson, again, not going to argue. He wants possession. So the ball goes to the visitors.
Shot clock under 10. And
great defense by Ben Stevenson, showing his hands on the entry pass, and the crash help by Thumbwood comes down before Trush is able to make a move to the ball. Thumbwood's able to steal it away.
Long pass to Fleming, and then Fleming a long pass into the corner. Now back up top to Stevenson.
And the Irvine defense, their game plan, neutralize Obert as Stevenson from long distance is handled. That anteater drop is trying to neutralize Alex Obert at center, not giving him any time or space to even receive the ball. The Tigers having to settle from long distance as the Anteaters come into the front court, and that long rebound collected by Casey Fleming.
And skip shot there. No odd bounce off the water there, and now a timeout called by James Graham.
Called by the Tigers.
30-second timeout.
30-second timeout, Tigers.
Midway point of the third quarter, Tigers trailing 9-7.
Tigers needing to find an answer to the perimeter passing and ball handling by UCI. Irvine has been able to create opportunities from center and get natural goals with a lot of production there from center. Able to move the Tiger defense, draw them out to the perimeter to create that little seam to make entry passes into their center. So the Tigers looking to find an answer here as they come out of the timeout. And an exclusion call after the triple team. Some protests from the Anteaters. The Tigers will have a 6-on-5 possession. Trailing by 2.
Jack Trush excluded for the Anteaters.
A great chance here for the Tigers. And a bad pass there.
Obert, the ball in the air way too long. Intercepted on the far side by Milos. And a wasted opportunity there for the Tigers.
Yeah.
James Graham in the pregame saying, take no possession for granted. And that was one that they let get away from him. And just a loose ball scramble there as a loose ball landed right in front of Carballo, who wasn't able to do anything with it as Thumbwood hustles over and steals it.
Yeah, almost great defense turned into a great chance for the Anteaters, but fortunately for the Tigers, able to get over there and get it and keep the deficit at just 2. Thumbwood goes into the corner. Shot there, tough angle. Easy save, really, for Peterson. I believe that's his 13th save of the afternoon. The senior from Anaheim. And that
looking backdoor for a little one-touch pass to Osborne. Had his head down. They had a seam there for a second, but he continued his drive, perhaps looking to peel away, and the Anteaters throw the ball away.
And then nice defense there by the Anteaters.
Carballo playing the angle as looks like Fleming will be called for an exclusion and an opportunity.
And off the post.
Irvine, unbelievable. An opportunity with 2-on-1 after the exclusion to Fleming at mid-pool.
And Osborne had a choice of shooting or passing to the guy right in front and decided to shoot and just hammered the post. So fortunate break there for the Tigers as the deficit remains at just 2.
We'll have to keep that play in mind if this game remains tight, or if the Tigers are able to mount a comeback.
And
Carballo with the field block looked like either off the head or off a heavy part of the arm there on the shot by Obert.
And then the long rebound able to be chased down by IE. And now the Tigers will get a 6-on-5.
Obert trying to drive into center. His defender, Trush, called for holding on his drive. Tigers into the 6-on-5.
See if the Tigers can cut the deficit down to 1, and this shot over the top from Petrovic.
And an opportunity, if Irvine can get it down the pool quickly, an opportunity with an odd man rush, Milos, and a save by Moore.
Yeah, the Tigers defense able to get back and kind of slow him down. He was able to get the shot off, but saved as we are under a minute to go here in the third quarter. Anteaters leading 9-7.
Field block by IE in front. Rebound collected by the Tigers.
So not quite the final possession of the third quarter. About a 7-second difference between game and shot clock. But another chance for the Tigers to cut the deficit down to 1 right before the end of a quarter. And shot off the post, chased down in the corner. 10 seconds to go. And finding a goal once again, final seconds of the quarter.
Devin Thumwood with the shot
Devin Thumwood
from long distance. I think he froze his defender who was coming out at him for just a split second. Gave a look like he was going to go to the wing to Laskovich at the far wing. And quickly came back to the near side with a skip shot that goes to the top corner. So that quick deception with the look away into the shot motion gives Thumwood a goal to cut it to 1, just under 5 seconds to play.
Tigers have owned the final 10 seconds of every quarter. They keep trying to get the momentum to go into the next quarter as the Tigers have never led. Trailing now just 9-8 here with seconds to go in the third quarter.
Irvine will just put the ball in play and play keep away here. And let the clock expire at 1 goal Irvine lead to go into the fourth.
So after 3 quarters of play, the Anteaters leading the Tigers 9-8. We'll be right back. This is Pacific Water Polo on the Pacific Digital Network.
Unbelievable.
It's great. It works out so great for us. And I'm like,
It's the middle of the quarters that are.
The final 8 minutes, Tigers trailing 9-8. Crowd waiting for the Tigers to finally try to take the lead for the first time this afternoon.
Tigers, as you said, Paul, have never led in the match. They've trailed by as much as 2. Most of the time it's been a 1 or 2 goal margin in favor of UC Irvine. And as you said, Paul, good crowd on hand here at Chris Kelton Pool. Looking for a reason to make some noise. And it'll be Thumwood to face off in the sprint against Carballo for the first possession of the final quarter.
Yeah, we've seen all 3 sprints so far really close. Not only homecoming weekend here at the University of the Pacific, also the very first home match of the season for the Tigers after starting the road with tons of...
And a false start called by the far side official on Carballo. So possession to the Tigers. And you have to think, coming out of the huddle, James Graham has told his guys the first 3 minutes or so would be critical and will probably determine the match. And then, an offensive foul called against Alex Obert inside. He contends that he was being held, and that's where the push-off came from. Definitely heavy contact in front, but the call goes in favor of the Anteaters.
When you mentioned between quarters, really the middle portion of the quarters is what's been killing the Tigers. They've started out well in some of these quarters and ended it well. Just that middle portion hasn't quite gone the way the Tigers would like. Shot clock down to 5, and able to find a way to get that in for the goal is Matt Skinner.
Matt Skinner, the big backhand from center, beats the triple team.
UCI goal scored by number 24, Matt Skinner.
Stretches it back out to 2 again for the Anteaters. The Tigers again looking for an answer.
Seen many times this afternoon by both teams able to quickly respond after giving up a goal with a goal of their own, and the Tigers will look to once again try to cut this deficit down to 1. Nice pass there to Stevenson.
Stevenson on the backdoor drive. Fleming found him, and Peterson with a nice save to deflect it out. Tigers retain possession.
Petrovic gets it over to Thumwood, looking for...
And Obert there, no room, as soon as the ball entered into him, he was met by a triple team, and the ball is taken away.
And you mentioned that the Anteaters really, if they're going to get beat, they're trying to let the Tigers beat them by perimeter shooting, not up close with Alex Obert, as defense there knocks the ball away.
And credit the Anteater defensive game plan to neutralize Obert. It's worked so far. He's got a couple, but most of the time he's met by a handful of Anteater defenders as Fleming receives a heavy foul on the far side.
Yeah, heavy to say the least. He almost tackled. And that long-range shot somehow off the underneath of the crossbar and down, does not go over. So
it looked like Peterson did get a piece of it to deflect it off the underside of the bar, and the rebound again to Irvine.
Here on with it, Carballo gives it up and then gets it back. Crowd chanting defense. Shot clock down to 7. Long-range shots gonna have to come here. Although they try to go down low, and then Tigers knock it away as the shot clock expires as well.
Stevenson and Laskovich arrive simultaneously to steal it away from Trush at center. And the Tigers looking to counterattack. Laskovich will receive it down the wing.
Yeah, now that's, as you said, Laskovich over to Stevenson. Stevenson with 3 goals on the afternoon to lead the Tigers offense.
Oh, and nice defense by Milos, getting out quickly, anticipating the pass, jumping out into the passing lane, out all the way to his suit. Great athleticism by Milos. As Mark Hunt will call timeout with 5:10 to play remaining in regulation.
Yeah, and now yellow card.
A yellow card assessed.
I'm not sure who they're giving that to.
Perhaps James Graham. He's protesting a call perhaps earlier in the possession where the ball was fed into Obert, and Obert was called for an offensive foul on a push-off above water. Graham and Obert both protesting that it was a hold that caused the contact and the push, but the ball was definitely there on that entry pass to feed a potential either 5-meter penalty shot or an exclusion against UC Irvine. Irvine gets the call. So James Graham looks like he was assessed the yellow card here at the 5:10 mark of the fourth quarter. And the Tigers now, I think, Paul, have to consider this a critical defensive possession, not wanting to let the lead get to 3.
Yeah, interesting. And you can, James Graham still the whole time out to his team, and now the referee, very expressive to say the least. Wow, I think it's Mark Hunt a lot more calm. Although, as he was calling that timeout, Mark Hunt was clapping rapidly, very happy with his defense to take it away there as he called the timeout with 5:10 to go. Anteaters leading 10-8. The Anteaters have led for most of the afternoon. So 27 seconds on the shot clock, 5:10 to go. Crowd chanting defense as the Anteaters working around the perimeter. Caballo gives it up.
Double post formation for Irvine.
See if they eventually shot clock under 5 now. They're going to have to just let it go, and that almost.
Milosh with the lob. Very creative player. Excuse me, Lena with the shot on the far side. Very creative pair that they have for Irvine. As you said, Paul, late on the shot clock, but the rebound collected by the Tigers. The Tigers now at this point a critical offensive possession.
Yeah, trailing by 2, nearing 4 minutes to go. As Stevenson's shot looking for that upper right corner off the top of the crossbar and out of play. So possession goes by without a goal for the Tigers as we near the midway point of the fourth quarter. With the Tigers trailing by 2, Carballo brings it up before giving it up, and he gets it back.
Offensive foul, a headbutt called on Skinner at center. Turnover to the Tigers. Stevenson will look to lead the break down the right wing. Thumwood looks for room.
Gets it to Stevenson. And
a beautiful one-touch pass by Stevenson into Obert. Obert finding a little bit of a space. And a great pass by Stevenson. Cuts it to 1 at 10-9 with 3:35 to play.
Yeah, they've been trying, and Obert hasn't had a lot of room for most of the afternoon, but finally they're able to find a little opening there, and Obert now with his 3rd goal of the afternoon, 32nd on the season, and once again the Tigers cut the deficit down to 1. 3:30 to go.
Irvine moving the ball around the perimeter.
And
shot over the goal by Trush. He had room, stepped out, just got underneath it a little bit, shot it well over the cage.
Thought for a moment the Tigers were going to have IE on the break. Tigers chance to tie it up once again. And shot saved, rebound almost found its way to Obert, but eventually it goes back into the hands of Anteaters goalkeeper Dylan Peterson.
Carballo with it, brings it up the wing.
Shot clock down to 10, and
a save on the shot by Milosh by Moore. 2:37 to play. Reset the shot clock for Irvine.
Tigers defense looking for another stop. Trailed by 2 often this afternoon. Really can't afford to fall down by 2 here with almost 2 minutes to go. As that pass, tons of contact, and somehow the shot gets off, and a nice save there by Brady Moore.
And Trush getting the shot away with the triple team arriving right into the hands of a two-handed pull down by Moore. Stevenson with it now.
Gets it back.
Sorry for some technical difficulty there, folks, but Alexander Petrovic ties the game at 10 with 1:32 to play with a beautiful skip shot to the top corner. Has finally given this home crowd here at Chris Kelton Pool a reason to really get loud, as they've trailed or been tied, but mostly trailed for the duration of the afternoon here, Paul.
Yeah, it's been a 1 or 2 goal deficit for most of the afternoon, and finally, with a minute 32 to go, the Tigers tie it back up as the timeout is called and the crowd up cheering. A few fans here from UC Irvine, but a good majority of the crowd here would expect anything better than a tie game with a minute and a half to go, right?
It's very evenly matched so far, but credit Irvine so far to answer every rally from the Tigers. Every time the Tigers have gotten it to within 1 or tied it, Irvine has answered right back with either a goal or stretched it out again with another goal. So the Tigers having to fight their way out off of the ropes all afternoon. And as we mentioned at the top of the broadcast, Paul, a critical juncture early on in conference play. Each team entering this afternoon's contest at 1-0 in the MPSF, with Irvine visiting Cal tomorrow in Berkeley, and the Tigers hosting the Cardinal from Stanford. So a critical early weekend in conference play here for both squads. We'll see what the final minute and a half.
Yeah, and a big point we mentioned late in the third quarter, Anteaters had a great chance right in front to make it a 3-goal lead, missed off the post, and so the Anteaters looking to regain the lead. Tigers looking for a defensive stop here, and then a chance to finally take their first lead of the afternoon. Shot clock down to 13. And
foul called on Stevenson. He thought he had a steal. Ball remains with the Anteaters.
Shot clock though down to 7, and
that ball is stolen by Obert. Milos was looking for a foul to try to create an opportunity for a direct shot. Obert comes over while Milos' face was in the water, did not see the help. Obert creates the steal, and the Tigers call timeout with 1:02 to play left in regulation.
Yeah, timeout called by the Tigers.
Great defensive play, holy cow, by Alex Obert, the national team member. And perhaps a little bit of blinders on for Lovre Milos, looking to do one thing, which was create a foul and a direct shot opportunity, as you said, Paul, late on their shot clock, late in the possession. And now, as we approach the final minute and 2 seconds of regulation, who knows what it'll hold. But as you said, Paul, that opportunity on the counterattack that created a 2-on-1 right in front, and the Anteaters were unable to convert.
Yeah, they had the 2-on-1. In fact, it was going to be a 6-on-5 as well, and then they had literally a 2-on-1.
Or could have been patient and
set up the 6-on-5
and waited for the rest of their personnel to come down, set up the formation. No doubt about it, a great opportunity with a 2-on-1. You always want to try to convert those, but a save by Moore off the crossbar, rebound to the Tigers, and a critical opportunity.
And it's easy to say now because he missed, but at the time I thought he should have passed it. They had a guy even more wide open right in front. Decided to take the shot and found the woodwork, and so the Tigers now, after trailing or behind for the first 31 minutes of this match, a chance to take the lead here. Under a minute to go. Tigers looking to try to get it to Obert, unable to do so. Stevenson now with it. Shot clock. Oh, what a shot!
Ben Stevenson with the lob. They were looking to go to Alex Obert to draw out the defense. Peterson came off his line looking to anticipate the entry pass and the step out, looking to feed it into Obert, and caught Peterson off his line with a beautiful post-in lob, perfectly placed into the corner. Ben Stevenson with an absolutely brilliant goal. And the Tigers now, for the first time in the contest, have taken the lead at 11-10 with 41 seconds to play in the contest.
So after trailing or behind for the first 31 minutes and 18 seconds, another
30-second timeout called by
great shot by Ben Stevenson. We saw one in the first half, kind of, you called it a change-up into the lower right corner in there, underneath the crossbar and in.
Now post in for Stevenson. Beautiful touch. Perfect placement. And as I said, Paul, Peterson looking to be aggressive and come out and cut down the angle. It looked like perhaps Stevenson had handcuffed him and got him off of his line. He thought, anticipating the pass coming out.
And I think everybody was anticipating the pass there, and all of a sudden, that's not a pass, that's a pass into the goal.
If you think of the opportunity, Carly Lloyd, World Cup, catches the goaltender way off of her line, and from
long range.
From very long range, puts it perfectly in.
I was getting ready to say lobs it to, and then it's in. As really probably the last chance now for Irvine. Tigers a defensive stop away from a thrilling win here to open.
Look for the direct shot.
Home play this season. Shot clock down to 6. Anteaters
in front, scrambling for it, and more able to come away with it. Looks like four-corner keep away as Peterson has come way out to come up to Obert. They're going to try to perhaps double team. Now Obert, being smart, crosses center court on his own half. A goaltender not allowed to cross half court. The Tigers now looking to spread the pool.
Yeah, they get to Obert and then
IE in the corner, and he's going to look to swim it into the corner.
First of the afternoon.
Boy, Paul, if there's one motion that I can say that sums up the game as we looked across here, Tim Reeves puts his hands over his head and takes a huge sigh of relief with the Anteaters pushing the Tigers to the limit. Very well evenly matched game.
Our first home game of the season after starting the season with 16 games away from Chris Kelton Pool, and finally the Tigers return home and pick up the dramatic 11-10 win over Irvine. So what can you say? What a great way to return home and pick up a win here this afternoon.
Well, the Tigers are going to have a lot to talk about, because if they play like this tomorrow, Stanford will have their way with the Tigers. There's no doubt about it. Stanford very balanced and considered a national title contender, are the Cardinal. So the Tigers will have a lot of things to clean up tomorrow. We'll see what tomorrow holds, but to close out the day here on Saturday with a conference victory against Irvine, the Tigers at least have to feel they have something good to take away from it with the W.
They kept battling, and at the end of the day, it's a win on the scoreboard. So the Tigers, with the win, as mentioned, will be right back here tomorrow at noon for a game against the number 3 ranked Stanford Cardinals. So for Pat Donnan, I am Paul Meissen. Thank you for joining us here this afternoon. As once again, your final score: the number 5 Pacific Tigers defeat the number 7 UC Irvine Anteaters 11-10. This was Pacific Water Polo on PacificTigers.com.